Hang on, let me just do that. Sorry, I was just eating a slither of Battenberg, and it got caught in my teeth. Welcome to Live 102. Marie's hoping for a long one tonight. You mucky tart. Let's get to some of there's lots to talk about tonight. What you been up to while I've been away? And I will do the thank yous and everything, because they are in order. And it's getting darker, bizarrely. I mean, I know it's only August, but it's getting darker quicker. To everyone that has sent their very kind words behind the scenes, thank you very much for those. And we'll get into some of the comments. I'm hoping that tonight it's going to be roughly about 2 hours, the live. I've done more than enough and have more than enough to say and to tell you about in the background. Roy Gordon says, "Oh, welcome back, Your Eminence. I do hope you're in fine fettle. I have wine, I have snacks, but most of all, I have plenty of Battenberg. Oh, I say. Can we discuss Farage and his company?" Oh, yeah, we're going to. Talking of Battenberg, did you see... how can I put this? So there was a rumour going around on social media that a particular celebrity had been paid 10 grand for someone to defecate on them. And I thought, oh, I say, I do hope they'd eaten Battenberg beforehand. Then I saw the picture, and don't know whether it's a really old one, but it's pre-loads of tattoos. So not sure whether it's actually a legitimate picture, whether it's a legitimate story, but I immediately thought of you and the fact that there's only the body of the Kirk would understand the relevance of a slice of Battenberg. I'm sure they didn't, by the way. Hi, Roy. Thank you. Can we discuss Farage and his company? Yeah, we will do that, Roy, in just a little while. Rich says, two-tier Kia. Do you know, I haven't done any of this for a fortnight, and already my math's not working. Is he scaring you yet? I can't answer that. I may be locked up. I know. I've been following that BS. Not Rich's, but two-tier Kia. I am going to ask you a very simple question. Where is he? You know, Comrade Starmer? Where is he? Oh, I'm delaying my holiday with my wife, my Jewish wife, and my Jewish children. Surely that's a contradiction for Comrade Starmer. But he's going on holiday. Oh, no, right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold some Cobra meetings. And I was thinking, blimey, is he going to have a curry and a couple of those beers? I love a Cobra beer with my curry. And he chaired 2 or 3 of them. And then all of a sudden, oh, yes, well, Boris Johnson couldn't even turn up for some of the Cobra meetings. Look, Johnson is like 3 prime ministers ago. And Sue Gray, the one that dobbed him in, she's running 10 Downing Street. So, Comrade Kia, he's away on holiday. I'll guarantee you, because you've heard now from him. Nothing. Absolutely bugger all. Is he scaring you yet? Because he's going to. Honestly, he's a very good cure for constipation, that man. And if you think it's bad now after 6 weeks, hold on to your hat, you bet your sweet bippy. It's all coming. I told you 18 months ago. I've been telling you, is he scaring you yet? And you all laughed. You laughed. 6 weeks. Riots on the streets. But who's starting the riots? Oh, we're going to get into that as well. You know I've got a take on it. You know what I'm going to tell you. They weren't rioters. They were government agents. Don't you get it? It was through the mainstream media. How did the mainstream media know where to be to see the car on fire in virtually every town that they were rioting in? Did you not see that they went from Hartlepool to Sunderland down to Middlesbrough? It was one team in the northeast. It wasn't randoms. It was government agents. And why did they want the government agents to kick off? To start the riots? A, stop you posting shit online, and B, put you in jail to scare the bejesus out of you. Now, obviously, I came on the beginning of this live quite gentle and quite... but I've just been watching it all, and nobody's got it. I've looked at everything, everywhere. And normally when I say stuff, it appears on other YouTube channels like a couple of days later. And I've watched, and nobody's got it. Absolutely none of them. And some of these usual suspects can go, oh, yeah, no, yeah, I did. I understood it. No, you bloody didn't. You didn't at all. Now, I told you when we were talking about the royals, and I promise I will get to the comments in a minute. I told you when we were talking about the royals, why are they doing the AI for Kate? Why are they doing stuff, and putting stuff out that me and you would see right through? Why would they be doing that? I told you, because they wanted more stringent controls in place for social media. Now, we already have an online safety bill that's had royal assent that should have gone into law, and now they've pulled that and gone, oh no, they've pulled it because they want you to stop telling the truth. How naughty can you be? How very dare you tell the truth in 2024? How very dare you? So, to Tia Kia, is he scaring you yet? Because he hasn't even started. Mind you, neither's Ginger Growler. She'll be along soon. She'll be the next Prime Minister. Mark my words, and I've told you this before. Anyway, Rich says, a warm welcome back to the body of the Kirk, Your Reverence. I'm sure I speak for the congregation in saying we missed you. Thank you, Rich. Really appreciate it. I will tell you that I bag it off. An oaf is not a person, mind you. I might have given him monkeypox. Have you noticed how they're going, is it me or pox? Am I the only one that's thinking about Hanson bop? Is that the act, bop? Or is that the pox, bop? So I've got Hanson 20 years ago, might be 30 years ago at this rate. But suddenly, you're catching stuff from bumming other people. Oh, I say. Is it AIDS too? Is this disease X? Oh, we'll talk about it later. There's more to talk about. So I bag it off. Most people know it's been a tough couple of weeks. But I kind of allowed it. Instead of pushing it down, and in 10, 20, 30 years, if I last that long, it coming back and biting me on the bum, to be a Keir. No, he's not Farage. To be a Keir. Maybe a glass of Prosecco. He's such a girl. He loves Prosecco. It's a Keir Starmer. Jimmy who? And he says, hello. Stuart says, evening, Adrian. Great to have you back. Hope you're well and roll on 8 p.m. Might have to try some Battenberg this evening if I can get rid of the mental images. Yeah, wrong and Stuart. You haven't been looking at Katie Price by any chance, have you? Put two and two together. Andrew James says, Tesco don't have Battenberg, but they do sell amples of angel cakes. Oh, what are you suggesting, Andrew James? Angel cakes? What we got to do for those? It was bad enough. Battenberg. Would that cut the mustard AA? Nah, angel cakes. Are they playing harps and wearing halos? That's the question. And do they smell as good as Battenberg? That's the second question. Vivian Kenyon says, welcome back. I'm sure your congregation will join me in saying that you were truly missed. Big hug. Good to see you back, Vivian Darlow. Thank you, Viv. Much appreciated. We'll kind of talk about where I've been, because I went to Sicily with the new Mrs. Allen for a little while. And, oh, God, I love that island. I genuinely love everything about Sicily, including Mount Etna that was spewing and spouting and stopping flights. I don't know whether you ever saw any of the Mount Etna activity over the last couple of weeks, but it was tasty. Karen Boo UK, missed you. Hope you and Mrs. Allen are well. Can you not tell by the tan, man? I've been out in the sunshine. I'm a ginge. I don't go out in the sunshine. That's from being in the shade. 35-degree heat, bright sunshine, Sicily. Penny Hen says, so missed you. Glad you're back. Thank you, Penny Hen. Really appreciate it. Bovril. All the pews have been polished. Oh, I say, the Bovril. What with? So you might find them a bit slippery. Crisps and other snacks stored under your seat. Yeah, wrong. And good to see you in the body of the Kirk, the Bovril. Neil Cunningham, same. Evening congregation. Des Ashton, always good to see you in the body of the Kirk, Des. Looking for room near the front. Me too. It's good to be back among the faithful. You're most welcome, Des. And Amalia Grassi, about 3 days ago, there were already several messages from people. Where are they now? Don't know, Amalia. I mean, I swear YouTube does like its own thing and just deletes stuff randomly. I mean, I literally have not, apart from to put the video up yesterday and the live up the other day, I've not been on YouTube to see what's going on. I couldn't be bothered, to be fair. Just couldn't be bothered. But I will, as ever, Amalia, I will check it out for you. Amalia also says a really more like 2 days ago, I think. Okay, Amalia. Neil Cunningham, I saw former chess grandmaster Gary Kasparov in the CAF this morning. I asked him to pass the salt and pepper. Took him 20 minutes. Gary Kasparov was some boy, and he was quick. It would have been quicker than 26 minutes. Actually, isn't it the Sicilian defence where you move your castle and... yeah, the Sicilian defence. God, blimey, I used to know this when I was 11 and 12. Used to be a bit of a chess player, but it's all gone. If anybody in the body of the Kirk this evening knows what a Sicilian defence is, other than a slap and get your hand off there, you're wronging. Tell me what the Sicilian defence is in chess. Andrew says, from Bing co-pilot, Adrian Allen always carried a faint, sweet aroma of Battenberg cake, making everyone around him crave a slice. Oh, I say, Andrew. Did I give them one? Stuart says, Amalia, it's YouTube. I left one as well and it's vanished. Sorry to hear that, Stuart and Amalia. I'm not quite sure what's going on. I mean, I'm not exactly a technophobe, but I'm not quite sure. Louise Hampson, evening all. Evening, Louise. Marie, that's funny, Neil. I'm sure. Leah, welcome back, Adrian. You were missed, but understand why you needed to take time off. Apart from, I mean, there's so many comments now. I just want to get into it. Talbot Tracy, oh, she's retracted her message. Bless her. Nikki Watson, evening all. Hi, Adrian. Hope you're well. Missed you. Thank you, Nikki. So, let's get into some of the stuff, because they've been at it. The mainstream media and the government and comrades, they've been at it by a big chunk. And as I've said to you before, I was a card-carrying member of the Labour Party or the Trotsky Party or the Communist Party, however you want to describe it. It's always been left of centre until Tony Blair. Charles Linton, Bow Street Magistrates, Google it. And Miranda, Google it. And I saw what was happening in the Labour Party, certainly in Sunderland. I mean, Sunderland is, as I've said to you, when the riots kicked off, that's... make sure that you follow me on X, because I can get a reaction to what's going on X quicker than I can YouTube. And I can say things on X that I can't on YouTube. Brilliant. Sicilian defences to retreat to Greece. So I was watching what was going on in Sunderland and thinking, hang on a second, that's not Sunderland. They're not right-wing. Sunderland, right-wing. They make Jeremy Corbyn look like a Tory boy. They're somewhere left of Stalin. I was going to say Comrade Kia. English bottle cap. But brilliant. The Sicilian defence is bought and paid for. I know. Mind you, I wouldn't like to tackle them on Sicily. I am going to tell you about The Sopranos in just a little while. Vix Tex, the full moon tomorrow is going to be very interesting. I thought that was on Friday, Vix Tex. Because it was really weird on Friday. I was so bloody aggressive. I wanted to go fighting with everybody, not just the politicians and the political classes, literally everybody. And then I kind of calmed down and thought, oh, bloody hell, it's a full moon. You know that's why they call people lunatics, don't you? Luna, Luna at the beginning. And I will guarantee you that there are certain professions that know when it's a full moon because the human condition, it kicks off big time. It just goes nuts. And that's a technical term that we use in radio before anybody starts. But the moon affects people. They say, oh, well, your brain's mostly water and the moon affects the water. So, but yeah, Vix Tex, I felt it on Friday already. I mean, they're talking about, I had a look. I was up in the middle of the night last night and I had a look and the sun looked mighty round and full. Because you know that the moon shines because it's reflecting the sunlight that we can't when we can't see the sun. So the sun is male and the moon is female because the female receives and reflects. The sun gives. Back to monkeypox again. Somebody's had it up their arse. Kathy Harper, that was strange how they squashed the story of the Australian child stabbed in London. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm going to talk about that. Do you know how they squashed the three bairns that were killed in Southport? Have you not realised they've not covered the funerals? They haven't. The youngest, the 6-year-old, BB King, was laid to rest yesterday. And the newspapers haven't covered any of it. The right-wing Sun, the even more right-wing Mail. And there's a little column inch in the Mirror today, Mirror on Sunday, just mentioning it. So why do you think that they wouldn't tell anybody about it? You know exactly why. They're not telling you. Because they are shitting themselves in the Pink Palace. Comrade Kia's front office, where he's taken the knee in front of his wife and his kids. No, I'm just practicing for when I go back home. I'm talking about the mainstream printed media, Tablock Tracy. So, what? Sky, never wrong for long. You watch that shit? Really? Philippa Fraser, the students that I teach go mental even more so than normal on a full moon. I know, you can feel it building towards a full moon. I always thought that the full moon was on a Friday. But if Vix Tech says it's tomorrow, I believe her. But Sly News, I know. I get that Teflon Guan. Adrian and chat evening. Gene Psychic, it's bloody awful, little children being slaughtered. I agree, Gene. The difficulty is, and this would have been the only defence that I would have for the mainstream media. Oh, by the way, sustenance abounds. The only reason that I can think of that the mainstream media haven't really covered it is because of subjudice. Oh, I have missed that. So the only reason I can think of why they're not covering it is because of subjudice. But they can cover the funeral of one of the bands, man. I mean, 6-year-old murdered. We're not talking about the case. We're just talking about the mainstream media's reaction to it. The printed media, not the telly stuff, not Sly News or the Big Black Cox organisation. No, I'm not talking about that. Vix Tex, monkeypox bull. I know. So do we get into some kind of... we have a lot to cover. I've got some questions I want to ask you tonight for very genuine responses from you. Kathy Harper says, I used to work nights on a mental health ward, and it's true, there was more trouble when it was a full moon. But why? Werewolves of London. Wahoo! Werewolves of London. Warren Zevon. There, right. One hit wonder, Warren Zevon. Werewolves of London, what a great song that is. Don't get me on music again, man, because you know we'll be here like 4 hours and I'll be wittering on about anything and everything. But hospital staff will tell you, police staff will tell you that, and you know, emergency services will tell you that if it gets to a full moon, more murders, more violence, more kicking off, more everything. Hospitals have to deal with it in A&E and stuff. Rusty Mouse says, how evocative. English Bottle Cap says, the moon is waxing gibbous tonight. That means getting smaller. Story of my life. English Bottle Cap. And Rusty Mouse says, beautiful, deep, large sizes, everything. Orange sun in an aqua sky this evening in Sussex. I can tell you, Bad Wolf Project has said, has the crossbow killer been charged yet? I've got that as part of my my to-do list this evening, and I don't think they can be charged. They have to be de-arrested, because you only have a certain amount of time to charge someone, and it looks like they haven't, because it would have been, surely, it would have been in the mainstream media. Alan said, Bad Moon Arising, Creedence Clearwater Revival. I've added the Creedence Clearwater Revival for you. Hang on. Alexa, Volume 3. Alexa, Stuart wants to know, what's a Mona?
This might answer your question. In Italy, the name Mona means lady. In Ireland, the name Mona means noble. In Greece, the name Mona means royal. In Miwak, the name Mona means gathers Jimson wheat seed.
Where? Did she say in Pyewacket? Hang on, where's Pyewacket Trixie Bell nowadays? Waxing is growing, waning is reducing. Thank you, Holly. It's getting bigger. Or as Adam said to Eve when they were standing on the beach, stand back, Eve. I don't know how big this thing gets. I'll leave it with you. Matty PW says, oh my God, you're back. Thanks very much, Matty. Kathy Harper, I think the crossbow guy is still badly in hospital. Well, he put a bolt through his chest. So it's going to be a while, you know, touch and go. But they arrested him. So you know what happens when somebody's arrested? The printed media go, oh, shit, right, can't write anything. No, can't do anything. Kills the story, any story, the minute that someone's being arrested. So they arrested him, and they only have, the longest they've got is 2 weeks if it is a terrorist attack of some kind. And it wasn't. So they have to de-arrest the person when they're not fit to be charged. So unless I am told otherwise, that the only suspect that they have in relation to the Triple Bushy murder is in hospital. Is it life-threatening or life-altering injuries? They're not saying that either. So let's just wait and see. We're patient. We're very patient. So I just want to say a genuine thank you to a lot of people who tonight have said good to be back, and have lent their support to what was quite traumatic. I still don't know how I did that live on that Wednesday night. I have no clue. I have no memory of it. So just thank you, really. Just an honest, genuine, heartfelt thank you. I've been doing a lot of thinking while I've been away. The new Mrs. Allen just said, oh, come on, let's get something last minute and let's go away. And we did. We just got something last minute, went and stayed literally in the middle of nowhere. Now, you know that I have a love of the Knight Templar. I'm always looking for Templar references and Templar stuff, and there's a lot of things that you would see that you wouldn't know was Templar unless you had the eyes to unless you've got the eyes to see. There's lots of stuff. So most of the Templar churches or chapels were built on the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, or designed around the design of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, which is why they are Knights of the temple, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And there's things. There's the rose windows. There's so we went to a place near Trapani, which is sort of the northwest of Sicily, and Trapani, Messina, it's kind of Templar central. So I have to say thank you to the new Mrs. Allen, because she knew what would get me out of me funk, and it was just seeing Albert Metcalf saying, "Welcome back to North Korea." You're wrong, and Albert. Vic's text, past life recall. Ooh, maybe. Actually, talking to somebody yesterday, I'm going to have some past life regression done, just as a thing, just as a thing. Hayden, far left Labour MP Clive Lewis calls for a British state-owned social media platform to be created, which he describes as a democratic, open source, transparent, public, bottom up. Oh, thank you, Hayden. So far left Labour MP Clive Lewis, he wants everything bottom up. No change there than in the Houses of Parliament. Hey, hang on a second, Clive. I just want to park my bike. Personal trainer Mike, hope you're well. Good to see you back, big man. Thank you, personal trainer Mike. So we went to Sicily, and we were based in a very, very, very beautiful vineyard. I mean, there was a pool and a massive big vineyard with loads of wine. Have a guess. I might allow you some for the altar wine, maybe on Wednesday. Yes, Tabloid Tracy says, Knight Templar, then visit La Rochelle, Charente-Maritime, France. Well, there are German Templars, there are French Templars, and it was the French and English Templars it originated in France, but there were French and English, and they got most of their riches out of France, because was it King Louis, or was it King Philippe XIII, who said, "Oh no, they're doing stuff, man. They're passing on monkeypox to each other. No, can't have that." And the Pope went, "Oh, I say, they're not shagging kids, they're shagging each other. Oh no, let's put them to the stake. If they'd been shagging kids, we would have let them off." Chief paedophile. Carlo Edwards, Holy Blood and the Holy Grail. Yeah, I've got that book somewhere. Sarah was the name of the Christ's child, along with Mary Magdalene, who got out of, before he was obviously kneeled, got Mary Magdalene, who was his wife, seemingly, if you believe, his name's literally just gone out of my head. Leonardo da Vinci. If Leonardo da Vinci is to be believed, then Mary Magdalene and their daughter, Sarah, got out of the Middle East and went to France. Hang on a second. Amalia says, "You're right, Andrew. I'm busting out all over after the sausages." Amalia, whilst I'm live? Blimey. Rusty Mouse, Curse of Oak Island, Templar artifacts. Rusty, have they found any yet? I've watched every single episode of The Curse of Oak Island, and they're no nearer finding anything worth any value. And they've made millions from the telly program, which is why they never wanted to end, because it's made millions. Holy hand grenade shall be cast on the count of 3. Napoleon blown apart. The Templars also went into Scandinavia and made deals with the Vikings. I agree. There is a Templar within my family. Back 20 generations or something. There was a Templar knight, and also Rollo the Viking is related. So no, the bloody wonder I want to go in fighting the whole of bloody Europe. So my family on my mum's side, there's MPs and landed gentry and Vikings and Templars, and that's why I can say with absolute surety, because it's been done by better people than me, that my English heritage goes back 1400 years. So when they start going on about right-wing thugs, here, Foxtrot Oscar, man. My family have been on this sceptred isle since 700s, and we kind of dotted about between France and here. So some of these MPs that are giving it that, they can't say, "Oh, my family lineage goes back so many years." Here, Foxtrot Oscar, man. How do we end shite, as they say in the Northeast? Dan Brown was mocked. He put it out there. I know, Nicholas. Oh, the Da Vinci Code was... I remember doing a late night phone-in, and the Da Vinci Code book gave me material for months. Because as I was reading it, I was like, oh, my word. I'd go on air and ask a question. Rosalind Chapel, Vix Tex, been there quite a few times. Love it, love it, love it. But when we were in Sicily, I said to the new Mrs. Allen, I said, see that doorway on this cathedral? Because Sicily was like Templar Central. So what they used to do was the pilgrims that wanted to go to the Holy Land and Jerusalem, they would come into Sicily, the northwest of Sicily, Trapani, Messina, on that coast, because Trapani itself is a deep water port. The minute that you can see a deep water port, you know the Templars were there, because they were some of the Templar technology. People go, oh, well, you know, they just had horses and carried swords. No, these were very clever men. Very, very clever men. Their retinue, there wasn't that many knights, to be fair, but their retinue was in the dozens, the tens. They looked after the horses, the stable, they were blah, 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 blah. Da Vinci film is good. Not as good as the book, though, Stuart. King Rollo, Roy Gordon, I know. Rollo's I don't know how many generations ago, but I'm related. I was going to go on to Ancestry and just kind of plot all these, but my mum's side, her line was plotted by a professional genealogist. Cost a lot of bunts, but that's how we know. Hayden says, Sir William de Hayden. Really? Hayden? Knight Templar was born 1080 in Hayden, Cambridgeshire, England, United Kingdom, as the son of William de Cardon. He had at least one son with Lucy de Tanvicarville or Tannicarville. Your ancestors, Hayden, how fabulous is that? So it's wonderful. I love all this. Alan says, I'm a far-right thug and proud of it. So back to Sunderland for a moment. There's no such thing as right-wing thugs in Sunderland unless you're in the pay of the government, the left-wing government that need to put stringent controls on social media. So you can't tell any truths whatsoever. You can't even have an opinion unless you go to jail. So let me say this. They're jailing people for passing comments on social media. And yet Ponce Andrew is still wandering around. So the paedophiles get away with it. Two-tier Kia. Yeah, paedophiles and the rest. The paedophiles, innocent, get away with it. Jimmy who? Kia. Comrade Starmer. Jimmy who? Jimmy the Hoover. There was a band in the 80s. Was Malta a strong Templar stronghold? Teflon? Yeah, it was. It was. So what they used to do. So that's Sunderland. There's no such thing as right wing in Sunderland. It's all red and left wing. Unless you're Keir Starmer telling everybody it's right wing thugs. I beg to differ. I beg to differ very strongly. Because my stock, a couple of generations ago, grandfather level, miners, shipbuilders, shipyards. No fancy downs, let's have 3 holidays a year. Let's have 2 cars at the front door and let's do this, that and the other and give our children private education. And white privilege, my hairy backside. You try getting some of the Gen Z down underground and say, right, there's a pick, let's have some coal out the ground. They'd shit themselves. Mind you, they're going to get an army uniform and a gun soon. Let's see how they actually defend this sceptred isle. So white privilege, it's just bullshit. It's just political classes BS. There's no such thing when you're a mile underground and then a mile out under the sea and you're hacking away getting some coal out of the ground. No, that's not white privilege. It's called a man doing his job and bringing back to put food on the table for maybe his wife and his kids. And all these idiots, they can foxtrot Oscar, white privilege my hairy arse. I'm telling you, I'm working in the shipyards on a Monday morning. Now, you won't know this unless you are from somewhere that built the best ships in the world, bar none. Glasgow can have a bit of a shout, and Northern Ireland Belfast can have a bit of a shout, but Sunderland and the northeast of England built the best ships in the world. And what did Thatcher do? Thatcher, the milk snatcher. She allowed China the knowledge to build ships and do away with our shipyards. Now, China, what they're giving us? Charlie 19 and monkeypox. We built the best. We're a maritime island because, bizarrely, there's water everywhere where we're from, me and you. Water everywhere. So we need a ship to get off the bloody island to go and kick the French. I still believe we should get across there and show Emile Macron what's what. Mind you, he probably wants a bit of monkeypox. Tom Harmus, the Home Office seems to be perking up. Funny that. Oh, yeah, I know. How much money? So what you need to do is watch this. The government will start and just lash out your taxes to these train driving idiots. Do you know that the Underground, London Underground, their control room, they're making 70 odd, 80 grand a year without overtime. 70 odd grand for sitting there and doing absolutely bugger all night. Honestly. And the train drivers complaining they've got a sniffle. Sniffle what? Drug testing at work, anyone? White privilege being peddled by the likes of Iman Aiton. I know. They've never been underground. Coal hacking. Or coal yakking, as we say in the northeast. No. So on a Monday morning, like tonight's Sunday, so on Monday morning in the shipyards, all the lads that have been on the lash, because, you know, heavy industry is hard work. So men in the northeast, this is how it would, Friday afternoon, try and finish as early as you can, pub. Turn up with your pay packet, because you got paid once a week, maybe a Thursday, maybe a Friday, but you would turn up with your pay packet, give it to the missus. She'd then spend it and give you a little bit of money for your beer, Friday and Saturday. So you'd go out to the workmen's club or pub, get shitted, come back, beat the wife up. So Monday morning, those that worked in the shipyards would go and find a place in the bulkhead and sleep their beer off that they'd been drinking for 3 days. The wives used to wear dark glasses. That's how it was. Now, I'm not condoning any of it at all. In fact, when I was little, I used to say to me, Mum, why are they wearing sunglasses and the sun's not shining? No, it's all right, son. They're obviously got a bit of glare in their eyes. No, they'd had a lashing from the idiot that had come home shit-faced on a Saturday night. So white privilege. White privilege. They can go and foxtrot Oscar. I would love to go on TV debates with these idiots. I'd love to go and interview these idiots, but everybody that I'm talking to shit themselves after saying initially, yes, I'll come on and then no, or ghost me. Because I asked straight questions. I remember being on air in South Wales and what was Pop Stars, and they had the 5-person little band, and one of them was gay. Because I had all the gays in Cardiff telling me that he was gay, telling me privately, of course, that they were sleeping with him. Now, obviously, I've changed the names. So it was front page of one of the newspapers. They were outing him. And his mother, it's on the Top Man tapes, his mother came on my show. And there was only one question that the whole of the audience wanted to know. And I said, is he gay? I've got all the gays in Cardiff telling me that they're sleeping with him. And she went, Noel's nothing to no one. Well, I've asked you a straight question. I was hoping for a straight answer. So, presence of the unusual in the usual. Oh, he must be then. And then like 10 years later, it comes out. Because the newspapers obviously had the story somewhere. But it's like, you know, there's nothing wrong with asking straight questions. These idiots, Dan Wootton and Piers Morgan, I think there should be a death match between those two. But anyway, straight questions, always good. The director of Kes came from my hometown. Oh, there was a proper film. Proper film. Exactly, Adrian. Demise of shipbuilding. So many ships powered by Doxford engines, which were so reliable. Doxy Park, Doxford engines in Doxy Park in Sunderland. We built the best ships, the best everything, because we'd had hundreds of years as a seafaring nation out of Sunderland. So that is interesting. A lot of realism in the film. I agree, Andrew. So let's get back to the Templars and Sicily. So the deep water port of Trapani. So the pilgrims used to come into the northwest, the very northwest of the island, and then go across the island to the very southeast, sort of Catania, not as far north as Etna, but Catania and Siracusa, and then they get back on the boat and then sail into the Mediterranean. Well, technically, the seas around Sicily are not the Mediterranean Sea. There are other seas that I can't pronounce or remember off the top of my head. So the reason I mentioned Sicily, the Templars, and we saw lots and lots and lots of Templar stuff. In fact, we went to a place called Eris, which is it's kind of like it's a bit like a mountain with a little village on top. And it's only a little village simply because the Templars went up there and went, oh, right, this would be very easy to defend. Nobody can get up here apart from us on horses. So let's build a fort. And they built this fort. And one of the churches. So I'm walking up there and I go to the front of the church. And the front of this church is exactly the same, to reference whoever it was that talked about Roslyn Chapel or Roslyn Chapel. It was exactly the same front door, exactly the same surround. And I said to the new Mrs. Allen, can you see that? You've seen that somewhere before. And she was like, well, where? Roslyn Chapel. So we didn't want to pay to go in, so we had to walk around, wanted to go for dinner. And as we walked alongside this chapel, which was shaped exactly like the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, so you know it's Templar, they had the Templar crosses, not the Jerusalem cross, but the Templar 8-starred cross. There was 9 of them. Now I don't have enough time tonight to go into the number 9, which is the universal perfection number, but also the fact that there was 9 Templar crosses on the side of this building. Oh my word. So while we were in Sicily, we had a good old butcher's, nose around, loads of pizzas, loads of fabulous food. But it's Templar Central, absolutely Templar Central. I have never been to Malta, but it is on the bucket list, and other places. So when you go to Jerusalem, if you ever do go, there's places underground. Don't think that you're walking the same steps as Jesus the Nazarene, because he wasn't the Christ until he was arisen. So people that go, oh, Jesus Christ. No. He was Jesus the Nazarene, who was married to Mary Magdalene, who got Sarah, the daughter, out of Jerusalem and into France. Rennes-le-Château. And Des Ashton, to get to the Holy Land, you had to go where they speak Italian, and then you go to where they speak something else. Correct, but the Templars were pretty adept at speaking most languages, I would imagine. Aramaic, I'm sure it would have been Latin, Greek, and Aramaic in Jerusalem, because Israel didn't exist then. Didn't want to pay to get in. Have you got Yorkshire blood, Adrian? Tight-arsed northerner, Holly. Tight-arsed. Poor fellow soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon became one of the richest gangs that ever lived. Where's the dosh? Switzerland. Nicholas. What, you think they were going to give all that gold and all that bunce up? I mean, Hugh de Payen, who was burned at the stake, he put a curse on the Pope, the kiddie fiddlers, and the king, and they both died pretty nasty deaths. But Hugo de Payen, he was burned at the stake, bless him. But where did the money go? Well, some of the money went into Scotland, They landed Glasgow and then went across to Rosslyn Chapel. Why do you think Rosslyn Chapel was built? Why do you think there's all these Masonic references? Because the Knight Templar was kind of the mother of modern Freemasonry. Do you know that the Knight Templar used to... no, I'm not going to say that, because there are people who watch what I do and they take all the stuff that I just kind of give away freely and they use it to make money on YouTube. So I think I'll keep that little bit to myself. Holly Ruston says, Malta is a lovely place. Alan says, ye old trip to Jerusalem, oldest pub in the world. In Nottingham, Alan, I've been there and imbibed a couple or 10 in ye old trip to Jerusalem. There are places, so basically what used to happen for the pilgrims who wanted to go to Jerusalem, there were pubs, stop-offs, where they would get picked up. Not in a bus, Your Honour, with wheels, but, you know, just like horses and little wagons, or however they got to the ports. But they used to go through the Mediterranean. Malta, once they were chased out of Jerusalem, but some of the money was like disappeared in Europe. And it was the the Hospitallers who took over most of the Templar money. And I've been to places in Switzerland where it's absolutely soaked in Templar references. Soaked. And why do you think that Switzerland has a Templar cross on its flag? But it's inverted. So the Templar cross would be red on white, and the Swiss cross is white on red. That's simple. And I would suggest that the banking system is... you ask anybody from Switzerland, Roger Federer, anybody, they can't tell you where Switzerland came from. They can't tell you when Switzerland was kind of organised into some country. You and I can for England and GB, or United Kingdom, 926. Athelstan, he was the one that organised the whole country into like a unit. So... you've got me talking about the Templars. You're utter wrong'un. So I also want to tell you that we're coming up to the 2nd anniversary of the channel. 2nd anniversary. So the channel was set up on the 3rd of September 2022, and the first video, an Alex Belfield video, was uploaded on the 21st of September 2022. I had made some kind of inroads into possibly my first video being about Princess Diana and her murder. Neil Cunningham, did the Templars roll up their trouser leg? No, they were covered in chainmail. So I very much doubt whether they've been able to do that. So I'm thinking about... so the 3rd of September is a Tuesday night. I may do something extra, but it's not set in stone. 21st of September is a little while away. There are things that have happened in the background that I don't... I've learned the lesson. I don't want to say, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and then we get there and it doesn't happen, and you go, oh, for flying out loud, Adrian. So there's stuff to do. There is stuff to do. Vix Tex, Princess Diana, Broken Heart. Yeah, I was part of the Muhammad Al Fayed's organisation, the Harrods organisation, and at the time of her death, I was working across the Brompton Road in a 7-storey building where he had his Punches magazine, Fulham Football Club, his radio station that I was helping run at the time. Napoleon blown apart. At least while you're talking about the Templars, you won't get a knock on the door, Adrian. Correct. English bottle cap. Roger Moore was a Templar. Was he really? Was he Templar, or was he Knight of Malta? Because there's still the Knights of Malta in Malta, obviously. But it's so... Savile was a Templar too. Alan? No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. No, he was not. Wiggy videos. Simon Templar? Oh, of course. Of course. The Saint. The All Bovril. Are we scaring Starmer yet? Oh, well, I hope so. Because, well, I do think he's going to step aside. I don't think he can take 4 years, or maybe 5 years, of what's going on. So anyway, 2nd anniversary of the channel's coming up. Sicily, I will tell you that the Sopranos are everywhere. I mean, it's just artistic license, I suppose. But anywhere you go. So the petrol stations in Sicily, it's not like we go into a petrol station here and it's like, oh, I'll have that bar of chocolate, or I'll have that packet of sweets, or I'll have that packet of biscuits, and I'll have a drink, and I'll have a coffee, and you can buy all sorts. In Sicily, don't be silly. It's all automatic, because I would imagine that if any, how can I say this carefully? Well, you just don't want cash on the property, do you? You just don't want people using cash. Knights of Malta, the highest order. Really, Alan? I do hope the ginger growler does not make PM. Rich is going to. There's absolutely, it's dyed in the wool. He might be a Davos puppet, as in Comrade Starmer, but she's also a Davos puppet. So it don't really matter who gets in. They're all going to do Davos's bidding, or WEF, the Westminster bidding. Can you imagine Rayner meeting Trump? He'd absolutely wipe the floor with her, but he'll know her background. I'm not going to repeat it here. Absolutely, categorically not, because I would end up in jail. But there's some fabulous stories about Angela Rayner doing the rounds. And Maggie was a Templar too. No, Alan, she wasn't. I don't think she got to Oniswaki Maliponce. Blair is. Blair's the Order of the Garter. So there's only 24, 25 allowed. Blair's managed to wheedle his way in there. Don't know how he's managed that, but most prime ministers end up getting a kind of a peerage. And Oniswaki Maliponce, the Order of the Garter. She flashed her bloomers behind the bag shed, you mean, Andrew? Woof. Bangs like a shithouse door in a gale. Brilliant, Holly. I've no idea who you're talking about. You can say that, but I can't possibly comment. Sort of. Ginger growler. So in Sicily, they can't have any cash on the premises. Why would that be? Have you seen The Sopranos? So the little grunt level, you go anywhere. So the petrol stations, you kind of stop. And sometimes, if you're lucky, a little old boy appears from nowhere. Can't speak a word of English. We can't speak a word of Italian other than ciao, which bizarrely means hello and goodbye. And the so you pull into a petrol station, it's all automated, and the little old boy just sits there and watches. Now, I couldn't work out whether they were Sopranos, making sure you were paying, making sure that the business was all in order, or whether they're just slackers. I get it. The heat was like 35 degree heat. It was just Betty Swallocks. So I would understand if they didn't want to do that much work, but you go anywhere. Like we went into this restaurant. We had a very romantic for our anniversary while we were out there, because bizarrely I've been married a year. I've no idea how I've made it this long without her killing me. But a year. I never thought I'd ever get married, let alone be married a year. So it was our anniversary. We had this beautiful romantic dinner on the sand next to the sea, candlelight, and the dinner was fabulous and just lovely, 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 lovely. But there was a boy sitting there that all I can say is he wasn't waiting on the tables. He wasn't sorting anything out. He was just sitting there watching everything. And I've told you before, in Bulgaria, I was going into the big bastard steak restaurants, and the local the locals in leather jackets, because you could always tell the wrong uns if they were in leather jackets. They would just come in, give us the money, however they spoke it in Bulgarian. I did tell you the story about the hotel that we were staying in. The manager was making too much money, so they told him to give him the money, and he was like, nah, fuck Oscar. So they just took him up the mountain and shot him. Business. It's just business. Don't muck about with the Sopranos. They're just Bulgarian Sopranos. They'll just take you up the mountain and shoot you dead. Business. You don't read that in the mainstream media, and that is absolutely 110% shit sure. Holly Ruston, full-blown monkey's forehead. Nikki Watson, happy anniversary. Thank you, Nikki. And Stuart, congratulations. Amalia Grassi, 24 degrees and I can't cope. Happy anniversary. Thank you, Amalia. So we were having this beautiful little romantic dinner by on the seashore, on the sand, on the beach. And this old boy, I mean, he was fairly built. And he was just sitting there. No beer, no drink, just sitting there, minding his own business. Absolutely making sure he got paid at the end of the night. So, Vivian, thank you. What did Holly say? Oh, yeah. Approval rating of Sir Keir Starmer now stands at minus. Really? That high, Hayden? Is he scaring you yet? And Sicily has the most beautiful blue or azure blue seas around it with beautiful sand, and romantic moments, obvs. But when Etna gets a bit upset and starts spewing it, oh, blimey, would you want to be anywhere near Catania? And the planes couldn't land, planes couldn't take off. People were stuck there for like 3 or 4 days. Tell us when we can take off. Napoleon blown apart. Slight change of subject. Why did Ukraine invade the Kursk region, or did they? What, you're talking about the Kursk submarine or the Kursk region? Well, you did say the Kursk region, so. Roy Gordon, thank you. Peter Sadler, evening, Adrian. Sorry I'm late. Hope you're well. Thank you, Peter. You're utter wrong'un. Slacker, hour late. Blimey. Congratulations on your wife's heroics, Adrian. I know, Roy. I compliment her all the time. I just hide the sharps every time I go to bed. Andrew James says to Hayden, will the Undertakers be on strike next, followed by supermarket staff? Oh, everybody's going to be at it. So this is what you need to watch out for. Inflation. And inflation is literally because of the government spending. So these caring, understanding 90s types in the government, in the cabinet, oh, wow. Leah says, happy anniversary, Adrian, and well done on your channel reaching 2 years. One of my beloved dogs is celebrating his 2nd birthday today. Oh, I bet he's full of energy. 2-year-old, he'll be as mad as a box of frogs, especially with this full moon. Cosa Nostra, Amalia says. Well, Amalia, with a name like that, you're bound to be, have Italian understanding. Lottie Martin, hi, sweetheart. Hello, Lottie. Alan, 3 trillion national debt now. I know. So what's going to happen is the government are just going to lash out money to the unions. How much do you want? How many billions? Oh, yes, have it. It's only the taxpayers. No, we'll just get the taxpayers to pay more. So the more that they spend, the higher inflation. So the more that the products that you buy to put on your table to feed you, your partners, your husbands, wives, kids, grandparents, they're going up because this bunch of caring, understanding 90s types have not got a clue how to run any kind of economy. None. Nix. Nada. So inflation, just watch it, because it's coming. In the same way that for nearly 2 years I told you about Sir Keir Starmer, and I told you, is he scaring you yet? And now we're 6 weeks in. You're shitting yourselves. Now, let's have a look at inflation. By the time we get to 2025, just watch it. I'm telling you, it's coming, and you will have less money. You won't own anything, and you'll be happy. According to Klaus. Oh, sorry, Keir, Klaus, both got the same initial. I'm going to ask you. Let me ask you a question, because I've got 3 or 4 questions that I want to ask you tonight, and we're gonna have a vote. We're gonna have a vote, and the vote is 1 for yes, 2 for no. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Theatre of the mind. Just a very simple question. Do you want memberships for this channel that would have exclusive content, first content, so the members and membership of this channel would get preference in every conceivable way? So, would you want memberships for this channel? 1 for yes, 2 for no. It will be, how can I say this delicately, because I don't want to alert anyone. It will be a private space to talk about the real issues of the day. And we could have a space where we could talk about things that they're already jailing people for. But if it's a membership and it's a private space, it's private. Nobody else can see it. Rich says, difficult as we mainly watch the lives. Interesting, it is split. It's kind of 50-50, yes and no. Stuart, because it's you, 1. Brian Ravenscroft, 1. But Manda Sky says 2. Tablock, Tracy, you're better off on Patreon. Good point. Good point. But the question for now is, do you want memberships of this channel? 1 for yes, 2 for no. And while you're answering, let's get on to the subject of, we are going to get onto the subject of the riots. We are going to talk about Sniffy Zelensky, Joe Biden. Where is he? Have you found him yet? Is he stiff? Not at first, if he's around kids. Comrade Starmer. Yeah, lots. There's lots to talk about. But I want to ask you, did you watch the Olympics? I mean, I was lucky I didn't have to. Bad Wolf Project. Labour plan to scrap council tax banding and going back to an old rates-style system. In theory, your rates would increase in line with inflation. Oh, that's very naughty. So if they do have a rate system in place, like a window tax, then if they can't control inflation because they're spending so much money, then they're going to turn around and say, well, it's inflation's fault. It's inflation. Nothing we can do about it. Well, stop bloody spending and paying off the unions. So the unions give you all this money and you have to pay them back. Nice business. Corrupt, but nice business. Lottie says, I don't understand the difference between Patreon and membership. So the membership on a YouTube channel is just members. And you would get exclusive content of some kind, maybe a live once a week and videos first. But Patreon is just support of a channel. So you don't get any, at least I'm not aware. I don't understand Patreon because somebody will obviously may contradict me. But I think that Patreon is just, you know, you pay to support the channel. Because I would like to make this a full-time business. I mean, I do have other ideas for other channels because there's other things that I'm interested in. But this social commentary is... Stuart, there you go. Straight in. Good question. How much does membership cost? I'm not sure, but I think probably a couple of quid a month. Like 50p a week or something, or but not that much. I mean, some people, a bit like OnlyFans. I'm sure you wouldn't want to see me in a mankini, but OnlyFans will, they'll $7.99, I'll get me baps out for you. I mean, can you imagine back in the day? Like in the 50s and 60s and 70s. Ding, ding, Avon calling. Now, 2024, your mum and your missus get a man from Uncle badge out, but become multi-millionaires. I mean, I've seen Hollywood actresses that couldn't get arrested with getting a film part are making millions on OnlyFans. I mean, millions. So, Alan says, get your baps out, AD. I've just put some in the oven, so I may do later. Bet Angela Rayner has an OnlyFans. Ew, ginger growler. AA and Mankini on next live, please, Amalia. No, it'll put you off your whatever you were eating a little earlier, your sausages, Amalia. Membership pricing is tiered, not keyed. Can be as low as $1.99 a month. I haven't looked at Patreon, but I just I can't keep doing this for nothing, and want to have a professional approach to it so that you're getting good value from what I do. But in the meantime, you're supporting the channel in helping us grow and make sure that the government stays off our back. Andy says, I'd pay not to see you in a mankini. Brilliant. Tenner. That's not tenner lady before you start. Jane Psychic, Twitch does subscription. Blimey, Jane, what's Twitch? I thought that was something I did in the bed after I had a few pints. Stop making your own gags up. Stuart says, I'd happily pay that because you're one of my favourites on YouTube, so I'd be getting good value. Thank you, Stuart. Matty PW, membership could be Labour means tested. Cool, can you imagine? Yeah, they'd want to take 30%. I mean, and the only reason I said this, and I'll have a look at the results a little later, was because I got an email from YouTube saying, create membership for your channel. And I was like, well, how do I do that? And they said, oh, we'll give you a bonus. And I thought, no, I'm going to ask the people that watch me on the lives on a Sunday and a Wednesday at 8, just to see if there's an appetite for it. And we'll work something out, I'm sure. Neil Cunningham says, Twitch is a streaming site. Thank you, Neil. Hang on, Alan. £2 a month, pegged for 2 years. Not the price, pegged, you pervs. That's Prince William. Andrew James, how about a fan club with 4 magazines a year and a membership card? Can you imagine? Hayden says, Brucey bonus? Question mark. No, you're not getting any bonus out of me. Is William interested in that, Alan? Rich says. I think Alan was setting the gag up for us, Rich. Napoleon Bonaparte, you would be the one and only that would pay we would pay a membership for. You're very kind, Napoleon Bonaparte. Let's just see. You know, we'll explore. We're open-minded on the channel. But I want to I've got 3 or 4 other questions I want to ask you because there's like a couple of weeks worth. But I want to know about the Olympics. I saw some of, hang on, Matty PW, pegging included. I only give, I don't take, Matty. Neil Cunningham, I stream my music show on Twitch. Ooh. Maybe I need to look at that, but there's so many different, before we get to the Olympics, there's so many different platforms that, I mean, doing the live, it takes 2 days at minimum prepping for one of these lives. So it would mean that I don't know whether I just have a 2-hour window and I use that on all the different platforms. But you can't, I just physically impossible. There are those lucky ones that make a lot of money from doing this. But I think that over the next couple of weeks, I'll give you kind of insights into what I know, and I'm not going to get into any further detail around this, but I will tell you that you know how they said digital ID. They've changed it. They've changed the word because you know that there was complimentary Battenberg. There's the thing, Matty. Membership with complimentary Battenberg, says Roy Gordon. Hang on, Alan says free Battenberg. What, you a bunch of freeloaders? You just want free cake or Battenberg. It's an alternative to YouTube. You can go live on it. Thank you, Jane. I'll have a look at it. Thank you for the steer. Leah says I watched only one Olympic event. So I watched some of the opening. And look, I've said to you before, I don't judge anyone. And I'm sure everyone, or a lot of the large majority of people that watch these lives and watch the videos on this channel are not for judging anyone and will just live and let live. But holy Jesus, the stuff that I saw in the opening ceremony, and I just thought, I don't have the appetite for being part of this or watching this. Now, look, I was a fairly tasty sprinter in my youth. I did, it was a handheld timing trial at Gateshead Stadium. I was a sprinter in my youth, and I did 7.1 seconds for an indoor 60 metres at Gateshead Stadium, handheld. Not me hand holding anything, but the timer. Wiggy video. I'd rather have chocolate fingers than Battenberg. You'll be getting monkeypox if you do. Hayden says, I was waiting for the 100-metre dash in flip-flops at the Olympics. Yeah, I mean, I remember, you know, the Carl Lewis and what was the Canadian guy that was done for doing drugs. So, you know, 7.1 for an indoor 60 metres is... Rich says, remember the opening of the Olympics 2012 in the UK? That was all about the NHS. Cringy. I agree, but did they have Led Zeppelin and the Beatles on? Ben Johnson, thank you, Aidan, thank you. So I got up in the middle of the night to watch the the 100 meters final, Carl Lewis, he had a face like a slapped arse when Ben Johnson just romped it. Lynn Ford, Christie. No, although Lynn Ford was complaining a couple of weeks ago that he was, everybody thinks of me lunchbox. No, we don't, Linford. Knock, knock. Who's there? Linford. Linford who? Ah, well, that's Olympic sprinting for you. Digital ID is the mark of the beast, Des Ashton. Des, I agree with you. So, yes, part of the Olympics, because I want to tell you something. Watch out for what they're going to do, because these snake oil sellers are slippery. And instead of saying it's digital ID, what they're going to call it is an individual digital identifier. See how it's the same thing but different? So they're going to use different words to make it softer so that you go, oh, that's okay. Well, we don't need an individual digital identifier because we've already got our digital ID. It's called a national insurance number. We've got NHS numbers. We've got any amount of individual digital identifiers in different systems that the government own. Why would we need an individual digital identifier? Now, I'm telling you this, you've not heard that anywhere else, and it's coming. I can't give you any more at the moment, but I'm just telling you, it's coming. 80% of the 1988 100 metres finalists were drugged up, Peter Sadler. Yeah, I agree. But 88, I mean, what do we do? Do we just kind of say to them, right, lads, girls, mind you, if they're taking a load of gear, they've got a bigger schmeckle than me, the women. Do we just say, right, the best chemists, if they can come up with some kind of robo-athlete, then they can win. But as English Bottle Cap said, swimming in the Seine. Ooh, mind you, the triathlon, or one of the heats of the World Triathlon event, did a swim in Sunderland, and they were coming out spitting logs. I'm being kind. George Orwell, 1984, people laughed. They're not laughing now. I agree with you, Hayden. I agree with you. But the Olympics, I looked at it and I thought, you don't have to do this. You literally don't have to shove it down our throats. Monkeypox again. And Lottie Martin, I know here that with your training, Adrian, we can learn how to be free as we can and speak free. With Adrian, you as a professional talker, we can know we are speaking correct. Like Lottie, everything is based in language. So the reason why I change things, you have understanding when I say it, caring, understanding, 90s type, you know what that is. When I say Battenberg, you know what that is. When I say all kinds of bits and pieces, it's to stop anybody sitting upstairs going, here, that Ginger Mackham, what's he talking about? And then I get rumbled. So there's a knock at the door going, oh, did you say that someone was ugly on YouTube? No? Well, we think that you do. So there's 3 years inside for you for taking the mickey. I mean, my jokes are not that bad, but Wikivideo says, I wonder if everyone's DNA got logged from all the jabs and tests during lockdown. There is every chance. But I did say to you that the Sydney Olympics, was that 2000? There was a massive plan afoot to unleash some kind of virulent, that's all I'm going to call it, some kind of virulent at the Sydney Olympics, because then everybody from around the world, from every country in the world, would take it back to their country. So they were working on this 25 years ago, and it didn't start until 2020. Gene Psychic says peaceful civil disobedience. Well, there is that, you know, where you can say, I'm praying silently. Some woman got arrested outside of some clinic. She said, oh, I was praying silently. Still got arrested. Even if you're doing it silently and nobody knows what you're saying, it's all in your head, you're still getting arrested for it. Amalia, thought police, feckin' sick of it. Agree with you, Amalia. And all I will say is, and this is truth and categorical, there are people in the organisations that are being used to control us that are also sick of it. AI will piece all the code talk together and report us to the stormtroopers. Alan, AI, thick as pig shit. I mean, have you seen Google's AI? They say we eat stones. Rocks. Sorry, not stones. So AI is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but if I give you repeated code words, then you get it. You get it. Oh, and you won't hear this from anybody else either, because they've not worked it out. Because there's a load of YouTubers that are just for clicks and subs. And I know somebody that I've been watching whose subscription rate is very odd. He's recently been demonetized by YouTube, and his subscription rate's going through the roof, and yet he's got no fecker watching his videos. Are you buying them? You're wrong 'un. You know who I'm talking to. Peter Sadler says Minority Report is coming true. What was I going to tell you? Oh, yes. So, they're talking about using facial recognition. And you know that facial recognition isn't perfect. Because what's the one thing that facial recognition can't do? It can't recognize anybody's face that's got a beard. And I'm not talking about Prince Edward. So if you've got a beard, facial recognition can't recognize your physog. Oh, let's have a look. Which part of society has got beards? Not me, but I'll bloody grow one though. So, which part of society won't get arrested by the facial recognition because they've got beards? Who's that? Wiggy video. Stand on your hands, girls. Alan, that women got arrested for praying silently outside an abortion clinic. Disgusting. I agree with you, Alan. I agree with you. There's only one agenda. That's the government's agenda. And if you don't kowtow to the government's agenda, you're going to jail. So now can you see why Sir Keir Starmer, Comrade Keir, who's on holiday, the slacker, you want the top job. You're only in 6 weeks and it's like, I'll go on holiday. No, you bloody won't. You should be stopping here and let your wife and her kids go off to Jerusalem. You stay here. You sort the bloody country out. Because this country has gone, never mind a shit and ruin, it's gone long past that. Because the other idiots, all the perverts, they raped this country of our taxes. Michelle Mone, anyone? So, Comrade Keir should shut his mouth and get on with the job. Unless, and there is a petition to remove him from office that now has over 200,000 signatures. And normally when it gets past 100, they have to ask a question in Parliament. They're in recess. Are they going to ask a question about Sir Keir Starmer? Comrade Keir is the Tory leader, cockeyed, jock-eyed, slippery Sunak. Is he going to ask the question at the dispatch box? Of course he's not. He made 120 million while he was Prime Minister. Telling you, Sir Keir Starmer, is he scaring you yet? So the Olympics. I thought it was a farce. We're going to go to left-wing LA, so we're going to have all the doodah as well. That breakdancer, she's literally being slaughtered left, right and centre. That's not bloody breakdancing. That's not even any... Look, I grew up, the B-boys and the B-girls and breakdancing. Crazy Legs from the Rocksteady crew. What a boy, that boy. Look, the kids in New York... West and East Coast, used to come out with a bit of cardboard and used to street dance, break dance. We're 40 years down the line. And this caring, understanding 90s type in green is like, and that's a break dance? Foxtrot Oscar. I know the difference. Two-tier, thank you English bottle cap, Two-tier said in his announcement that he would use facial recognition for protesters in the same way as they are using it for football hooligans. So recognition tech has already been deployed. Yes. Do you not know that when there's a football match, that so when I'm trying to work out what I can and can't. So when there's a football match, you know that there's spotters up on the roofs. You know that they use facial recognition. You know that there's intelligence units that look at the football hooligans. But what facial recognition can't do is recognize your face if you have a beard. So which part of society, I mean, now that I'm saying this, everybody is going to have a beard. Like if they start and say, we're going to use facial recognition. All right, mate. It'll take me 10 days to 2 weeks to grow a nice bushy beard. They won't be able to say, who's that Ginger Mackham? Talker 69, good to see you on the live, young sir. Been offline all day. I hope you're well. Good to see you in the body of the Kirk. But this facial recognition, don't be fooled by it. And don't be fooled by when they say, oh, you know, the football hooligans and the football folks, there's intelligence. Every police force has an intelligence unit that's very well aware of football supporters. Very well aware. They don't tell you. I mean, that's not something they're going to print in the press. And it's in the public domain. Hayden says, hang on, we're buffering. I'll wait till it comes back. Thank you. I wonder why it buffered right at the point where I'm giving you some really tasty information that you don't know. Hayden says, the other night I had a drone hovering over my house. It was only after I spotted them and got my mobile phone out at them that they baggered off. Stuart says, I'm going to grow a beard then. Look at Prince Edward. Neil Cunningham, grow a beard and they'll tax it. Yeah, by the millimetre. But it is true. Facial recognition can't... I mean, although the iPhone now is very good at recognising somebody who wears glasses, but with a beard. Andrew James says to Rusty Mouse, I know Asda do. You can't even pass the threshold with your face popping up on a screen with green boxes. No, I don't shop there either for that very reason. But it's all there. Let's get back to this this breakdancer at the Olympics. It's the funniest thing. The funniest thing. She was, in my view, and I've been playing hip hop since 1979. I've been playing hip hop, if you want to use any descriptive for it, since 1983. So I know what's what, and I know that wasn't breakdancing. It was shit. And that's why she's getting, I mean, everywhere, absolutely everywhere. So I didn't watch the Olympics for the very reason that they tried to shove their agenda down my throat. And this is why Go Woke, Go Broke appeared from nowhere. Because people just vote with their feet. They're not interested in the BS. They're not. People just turn around and go, oh, here, Foxtrot Oscar. Oh, put some Break Machine on. Wiki videos, I agree. There's my favourites were Mantronics, Break Machine, the Johnson Crew, the Crazy Legs. There was just some amazing break dance party. Alan said Northern Soul dancers. Oh, I agree. Northern Soul dancers were far better than that trash. Oh, don't get me started on Northern Soul. Adrian Allen, a Northern boy with a Northern Soul. Ollie and Jerry, yeah. Run DMC, yeah. She had a PhD in breakdancing, don't you know? Without putting too fine a point on it, Tom, I have shit more intelligent stuff than breakdancing. Amalia Grassi, yup, I boycotted because of the mockery of Jesus. I'm with you. Put some skiing in the snow on. Oh, what a Wiggins standing ovation. Alan, thank you. Andy, how did she get to the Olympics? Best bee dancer in Australia? No. Seemingly there's a better one than her, but the better one didn't get chosen. Beatmasters and Cookie Crew. That was a bit later. It was in the 90s. Resurrection Shufflers. Ooh. Oh, Resurrection. Who did the Resurrection Shuffle? Was it Resurrection Shuffle? Oh. English Bottle Cap. I hate it when somebody gets one over. Where Morris Dancers were better. Steady top of 69. She voted herself as the best in Australia and got a free holiday. I know, Nicholas, but, you know, I'm just, in my view, she was shite. Not to, you know, kind of mallet that particular point home. Resurrection Shuffle. Wasn't Bobby something or other and the Crypt Kickers Resurrection Shuffle? No. I hate it when my brain don't work, and I know the answer to this. Vanilla Ice. He wasn't a rapper, man. And didn't he bang Madonna? Not quite sure what was going on there. Oh, that's a question I wanted to ask you. And thank you to Hayden for saying that. You've reminded me of something. Where is it? You know, Madonna's now 65. Pterodactyl and the Dinosaurs. Thank you, Wiggy. That wasn't Resurrection Shuffle, was it? Peter Sadler says, check her knees and see if they're still bruised. Yeah, her and Meghan Markle. Critics contend Rachel Gunn ran the Olympic qualifiers herself and installed her husband as a coach. No way! Gene, the psychic says Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight. The Monster Mash was Bobby, Boris, Pickett and the Crypt Kickers. Thank you, Holly. William Alex, 66. I'm not sure. Anyway, so Madonna's now 65. So I'm going to ask you a very honest question, because we've been going an hour and 25. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Nicholas says, Adrian, please read this. She and her husband voted for her and she won. No way. That's called bloody corruption. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Madonna is now 65. Be like pulling a cheese toastie apart. She was hailed as the most beautiful woman in the world by some of the mainstream media over the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to ask you a question. Is Madonna the most beautiful woman in the world? I'm not going to put that Prince song in your head. Is Madonna at 65 the most beautiful woman in the world? Obviously, she paid for advertising in the press. Because I looked at it and thought, Jesus, I'd put her on the mantelpiece to keep the kids away from the fire. Hayden said she should close her legs, there's a draft. Mind you, if you look at her partners, they did actually get... Honestly, you're so cruel. Every single one, 100% nope. So I cut you drift. No, nobody's even like. I mean, so she was with Jelly Bean Benitez in her early days. I think he co-wrote, was it Holiday? And I was at her first ever gig in this country was at the Manchester nightclub, and I was there. And hang on. Tom Harney's 64 on Thursday. Happy birthday, Tom. You're wrongin'. Alan says, happy birthday, Tom. You're youngin'. 64 on Thursday. 64 is the new 40, you know, Tom. Vix text no comment. Unrehearsed live. Good to see you in the body of the Kirk, Lionel. I agree with you. Alan Little, she never got over Sean Penn. Oh, he's another madman, another left-wing madman. And so Jelly Bean Benitez, he kind of co-wrote and co-produced. He's a very talented boy. But the minute that she started to get any fame as a singer, and she was on Sire Records, I seem to believe, but then she had her own record label, Maverick. And she ditched him because she wanted to be a famous actress. So she went with Sean Penn. and then, you know, was dancing with the girls. She was neither Arthur nor Martha. Did all those books. Nicholas, Adrian, you have the James Whale glint in your eye. Madonna. Alan, in bed with me dinner. No, I wouldn't. No. So she went with Sean Penn because she wanted to be an actress, and then she did Dick Tracy, and everybody thought, no. But poor Warren Beatty, he was the director and star as Dick Tracy. I mean, unfortunate. Madonna loved Dick. She did. That's why she was in the Dick Tracy movie, Loved Dick. And she was the kind of mole, the gangster mole, wasn't she, in Dick Tracy? She was there to bring a little sexiness to the film. And I was there for the... I was in Disney World. Is that Disney World in Florida? They had the premiere for Dick Tracy in Florida, and her PR, Liz, was it Eisenberg, Rosenberg? Anyway, her PR pulled my interview with Madonna, last thing in 1990. Gutted. But I got to interview Warren Beatty, Dustin Hoffman, but Disney were really worried that if Madonna had gotten any coverage whatsoever, then it would have been about Madonna and not about the film. And the film stiffed, tanked, because it had no contemporary resonance around the rest of the world other than just in America. Wiggy Video says her book must have been better than her films. Oh, I agree. I've seen them. Can't stand Diana Ross, Amalia. Where did that one come from, Amalia? She has her pick of her dancers, probably. Bless her. Thank you, Lottie. Neil Cunningham, Dick Tracy, Desperately Seeking Susan, Shanghai Surprise, all Madonna films, and all shite. Tell it like it is, Neil. Andrew James. No, Stuart says, I've been to Disneyland. Paris, Florida is next on the bucket list. I can't remember which one it was. It was either the Swan or the Dolphin that I stayed in. And it was me and the camera crew because we did some telly stuff for Sky. And we knew Madonna was on site because we'd straight across from, if I was in the Dolphin, she was in the Swan. And we were high enough up there was like a VIP suite that was the size of a small country. And she was in that suite. How? We know? Because the cameraman was kind of using his telecamera, which had massive zooms on, and he said, Jesus, I can see Madonna. And I was like, you're wrongin'? Where? Give us a look. It's like, no, we might get arrested. She wasn't bad in Evita. Oh, man, not a bad shout, Hayden. So she did the music stuff with Jelly Bean. She did the film actress stuff with Sean Penn. And then she wanted to be a director. So she went and married Guy Ritchie. He had a lucky escape there. And now, at 65, they reckon she's the most beautiful woman in the world. Hardaway and shite, man. Honestly, if I woke up with that next to me in the bed, I'd have nightmares for the rest of my life. I've seen all the work she's had done on her physio. She needed just to lay off, man. She's got hundreds of millions in the bank. What is she doing it for? Ego? Correct. Andrew James says, I agree. I was about 6 or so when I saw Dick Tracy on VHS rental. I thought it was shite after 10 minutes or so, like the Phantom. Oh, yeah, Phantom wasn't very good either, was it? Alan says, don't like her, but I did like a Frozen song. Obviously, no contemporary resonance for me. I mean, I remember Into the Groove, Holiday, Like a Virgin. Yes, please. Have her washed and send up to my room. But she was kind of a moment. Alan Little, you utter wrong, and do you like a Frozen face? It's not going to move, is it? Ever. Honestly, when she gets cremated, they'll cremate her, and then it'll take them another couple of hours to cremate all the plastic. So I'm going to ask you a really serious question, because the Olympics is kind of... I just wanted to mention the breakdancer from the Olympics, who was just... I want to ask you a really serious question, because I've been to Vancouver where it's legal, and you can smell weed everywhere in Vancouver. You go to London, it's not legal, but you can smell it everywhere. You smell it on the trains, on the buses, on the streets. Germany, it's legal. I'm talking about cannabis. And I know, I have a zero tolerance around recreational drugs. Zero tolerance. I'm not interested in any reasoning. Ayahuasca. I've done ayahuasca, but I did it as medicine at a medicinal retreat in Peru, where it's not considered illegal. It's considered to be plant medicine. But if you go to Germany or Holland or places in Europe, it is considered to be legal. Now, I understand that some recreational, and the reason I'm mentioning this is because of Matthew Perry. Some recreational drugs are acceptable to some societies. Germany, Canada, it's not legal here, but I know that they will, when all the prison riots were kicking off in the 80s, like proper, I don't know whether you can remember the demonstrations on the roofs, and they were setting strange ways of light, and there was all kinds of shenanigans going on. They just allowed some recreational gear to go into the prisons, and it kept all the prisoners dumb and silent. You know, when Germany has legalized it, it's just going to make their government a lot of money. So I'm going to ask you this question. Hang on, Lottie Martin, she said yes. Rheumatoid arthritis, Vix text. Yes, poor Perry, says Lottie. Should cannabis be legalized? We're not judging anyone here. You may have your many different reasons. It is my personal preference. It is a zero tolerance for recreational drugs. But should cannabis be legalized in the UK? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Top of 69, obviously, says free the weed. Interesting. Because it's a big question. I know that governments will use it to dumb down the electorate so that they're either voting the way they want them to vote for, or are literally just wasting their lives. Now, it depends which way you look at it. This could be nirvana, this could be heaven, or not, as the case may be. But I want to know, would you legalize cannabis? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Germany are dumbing down their youth. The market in the UK is estimated to be worth £2.6 billion. Can you imagine how much tax the government would make? The kids are coming off the vapes, they're coming off the cigarettes because they're too dangerous. Nuki Brown says 1 for meds. Interesting. Some people are saying no. Leah, like you, Adrian, zero tolerance. Top of 69, can't hit the number 1 button enough. 1 for medicinal purposes. So, should cannabis be legalized? And it is a big question that we should have an adult conversation around. But a market that's worth £2.6 billion a year. There's Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's got his own cannabis farms. It's legal where he is. It's legal in his state. So he's a businessman. He makes a few bob from it. Or 20. Andrew James said, not sure. I've seen people get paranoid on weed and hit their girlfriends when they didn't have their fix of money for weed. Napoleon Bonaparte, what's your opinion, Adrian? Zero tolerance. Under no circumstances. And I get that. I would suggest that there needs to be trials. In fact, there needed to be trials around the medicinal cannabinoids rather than what we had happen in 2020. And then the push to get us to adhere to what they were telling us. It's traded on the US stock market. I know, Alan. Well, it might pay my winter fuel allowance then. Interesting, Alan. In all fairness, Ray Norton said daughter had ADHD, won't prescribe cannabis even though proven to alleviate symptoms. Interesting. Amalia makes a very good point, but not shite skunk. Should be gentle, naturally grown grass. or government provided, because it's the DMT within the cannabinoids. Nicholas, Adrian, can you remember the lanky bouncer from Walkers who hoyed Gaza out? I do. I used to work at Walkers in Newcastle as a DJ. He told me in 91, before we die, weed will be taxed. Frank Zappa had a zero tolerance to all drugs in his band. Interesting, Tom, because that boy had a very creative mind. So my honest take is this: zero tolerance. There's no excuses. If you have to live your life through recreational gear, how bad must your life be? I mean, what kind of shit is inside of you that you're having to go through recreational gear just to tolerate it? But I would like more evidence around the medicinal uses. The problem is, if we go, okay, medicinal use, it's got so many different properties. We can take the DMT out, but we will leave all of the other stuff that's good for arthritis, ADHD, so lots and lots and lots of different things. Dr. 69, always used for medicinal. GP told me as there's no painkillers to help me except morphine. Fuck addiction, says Topic 69. You see, I completely get that. There's nothing worse than being in pain. Nothing. And if in some way, for medicinal purposes, it takes away that pain, then I'm for it. But it has to be medicinally proven, not just recreational. I always use the caveat, recreational use. Zero tolerance. I mean, I've seen it as a gateway. If you look at the kids now, I mean, it's everywhere. It is literally everywhere. But the kids are not just doing weed, they're now doing ket as well. And you can see a mile away when somebody's on it, on ketamine, special K, however you want to describe it. That should not be allowed. Because weed is a gateway drug. And I was going to have, I think it was at Swansea University. Can you remember Mr. Big? Can't remember his name. Marks. Was it Howard Marks? He was pro recreational weed cannabis use. And they wanted me to argue against. And I just said, well, fuck your head up. It will fuck your head up. And they went, oh, yeah, but could you be a bit more erudite about it? I said, well, how do you want me to describe it? But I turned it down because it would have been like going into a bear pit. Swansea University, Howard Marks, Mr. Big. Cool, can you imagine? Mind you, they might have all been asleep. Mr. Nice, sorry, thank you, Tom. O'Rourke Eater, I'm only out of hospital and would have taken anything handed to me to make the pain go away. I'm so sorry to hear that, O'Rourke Eater. There's nothing worse for the human condition to be in pain. And exactly that. Alcohol, bars open. They had to take the toilet seats off our local pub. I wonder why. Yeah, they're all on the sniff. Phil Ewan said I met Mr. Nice. He's dead now. Cancer. Didn't stop the cancer, did it? So I think that it's being used as a controlling tool for the youth. I mean, heaven forbid we have any kind of theatre of war anywhere around the world. And our children, Gen Z and Gen A, are going to have to go and protect us. They've got no spine. They've literally got nothing. They'll just they've got their blazing squad and they'll just start it up and off you go. But it's gateway. It is a gateway. But I'll have a look later because it was. I think this channel is adult enough to be able to discuss the big questions that's going on at the moment. So asking you the question, I'll have a look at it later. I think the general consensus is medicinally, yes, of course. Any way we can help people deal with whatever they're dealing with, and it's for medicinal purposes only, then yes, of course. You can get the gummies and all kinds of bits and pieces, but just recreational use? Nah. people who have to live their lives through recreational gear, I feel very sorry for them, because there's no getting out of that particular prison ever until you go into your box. Lottie Martin says, yes, 100% help people with pain, 100%. So zero tolerance unless it's for medicinal purposes. We'll talk about the royals very quickly, and then we'll get on to bum pox, or mbop, as Hansen once sang, because we're being fed this poison again. But let's do the royals first. So, Ginger Grumpy Sphericals, he's been away with his missus to Colombia. Why? Why did he go to Colombia? Marching powder, perchance? He's been on it. He's admitted it. He's done marching powder. I'm just making sure the algorithm doesn't cancel me. So, Ginger Grumpy Sphericals, let me tell you something. When you have that level of power, it's soft power. He can do anything he wants. He's going to get away with it. Anything he wants. And that's why they want the not PIP. They want the important people status, so that you never get checked. Internationally protected person, IPP. You never get your baggage checked. You can walk in and out of any country. It's given to heads of state, royals, and some politicians. They can walk in and out of a country and your bags are never checked. So you can have anything in your bags. It'll never be checked. And they want IPP. He's already got it because he's a blood royal. But Meghan wants it. Once she gets it, it's for life. And not only does Meghan get it, but the nanny gets it. So she would never have anything on her. I mean, for her first wedding, if you believe she's only ever had 2, 3, at my last reckoning, and she was pregnant at my last reckoning. And those stories are really quickly squashed. So how can she have 2 kids now when she had 1 and it was given away to somebody? So I'm led to believe by the things that I read online. Whether that be true or not is down to your judgment. But they took away her ability to have kids. So how could she have 2 with Ginger Sphericals? Surrogate, anyone? So, his visa row, where suddenly he's telling everybody in his book, oh yeah, I've done loads of gear, me. Yeah, killed loads of Taliban, done loads of gear. I've done coke, me. I've done weed, me. I've done everything, me. Even ayahuasca. No, you don't ever see the kids, Andrew. Thank you for that. Stuart says there's a meme of Meghan crying in a wedding dress. It's a scene from Suits. Oh, the BBC's paid for that. What? Why would they pay for that shite? I'll guarantee you nobody's watching it. The WHO and their families have diplomatic immunity. Ideal way to ship drugs around the world. I know, once you've got the IPP, internationally protected person, you can take whatever gear you want anywhere in the world. You won't get stopped. But interestingly, Meghan's mother, Doria Raglan, she likes a bit of weed, according to some books I've read. Loved a bit of a toke on the front lawn. Did old Doria. So, IPP means when you've got kids, husband and mother, and the nanny gets IPP status for life. And it means that Doria, because technically she's a nanny of sorts, she would get IPP for life. That's why they're after it. It's not because, my kids are are under threat. No, here, Ginger Sphericals, man. Foxtrot Oscar. We know why. Because then Doria and Meghan and you would never have to show what's in your bag when you fly into countries. So he's gone to one of the biggest producers of marching powder in the world ever, Colombia. And I'm sick and tired of the, will they split, won't they split, have they split, haven't they split? I'm not interested, man. It's just a diversionary tactic, because if you look at a few days ago, they were talking about Catherine, Princess of Wales, not returning to public duty. Why is that? Are they getting a divorce? I mean, look at the rumours. Nicholas says, if you monetize the channel, can I use the advice you gave me years ago? Never to be shy to be asked if you can be on the guest list. Oh, sorry. If you monetize the channel, can I use the advice you gave me years ago? Never be too shy to be asked if you can go on the guest list. Your name's not on the door. You're not going in, Nicholas. When did I say that to you? Was that Walker's? I remember talking to a police officer who was assisting us in our job. The OSU officer has this chilling advice. We have lost the cannabis war. We should be diverting our time to Class A. There's loads of people on the sniff. I mean, you can drive about on the motorways, on the roads, and you can see the people that are on it because they're aggressive drivers. You can see it a mile away. Yeah, 2-tier Britain, English bottle cap, jammy Dodgers. Not a bad shout. Fill you in. Reckon King Charles ever lit the chalice or the Queen? Interesting reference, fill you in. Jane Psychic, I'm not interested either. Neil Cunningham, the government won't legalise weed because there's no way to tax it. When they find a way, well, America has, or businessmen like Mike Tyson making a shed load from it. So that's kind of the this Colombian FAUX, as in FAUX, royal tour. That's all Ginger Sphericals knows. He just wants to be royal. Well, he's not, because he stepped away from it. But he wants to be the showbiz arm of the royal family, and they're laughing at him, laughing because he's not. Honestly, another IQ point. That boy'd be a lamppost. His brain's so small he could blow up his nose and he'd go off like a referee's whistle. But I did ask myself a question: how much have they been paid to go to Colombia? Oh, and Meghan, Ozempic, anyone? Wegovy? Rich says, the sea is rife in football funds. I know. Once Colombia marching powder. It's odd that Ginger Sphericals wanted to go to Colombia. And you know, in South America, you can get the coca, not cocoa, but coca leaf, which is where the marching powder is derived from. And they just sell it like in Peru. They sell it for tea. Cup of that. Am I going to invade Poland? No. So it's everywhere, and there's big money to be made in it. But that's why the government could step in. But do they want to? Because divide and rule. If everybody's on the sniff or everybody's doing this, that, and the other, dumb the masses down. Total control. Of course, Ray. I agree with you. Completely agree. Lottie Martin, big smile on his face. Ginger Sphericals. I know, except when he's with his wife. Gene Psychic, knob. I think that sums it up adequately. He's acting like a knob-head. Andrew James, I'm sure more and more at gigs on the sniff. Concert goers are getting more angry and aggressive. Pound shop royals. Ouch, Rich. I agree. And I do believe that society from 2020, when all the shenanigans went on for a few years, we were told it was only going to be 6 weeks. It turned out nearly 2 years, give or take. And people are, you can see by some of the online reportage. Thank you, Rich. Fluoride. Feck off phone. Ah, right, Amalia, got it. Yeah, fluoride. It's not great for the human condition. Andrew James makes a very good point. My wife and I saw Bonnie Raitt. The audience were leery and stoned. That's ever the way with rock and roll. That's, the last 60 years. I mean, if you go back to Elvis and rock and roll, uppers and speed, and then you go through the Beatles were proper gear users. If they'd not used gear, there would be no Beatles songs virtually. LSD, weed, LSD and weed mainly. But rock and roll and the audiences for rock and roll have gone through it was LSD and weed in the late 60s around music, and then in the 70s we get into the grubby stuff, which was speed and quaaludes and all kinds of bits and pieces. So an audience that's leery and stoned, that goes back 60 years. Fluoride proven to block your third eye, third sense. I agree, Ray, but I mean, how many people would you kiss who haven't cleaned their teeth? Wiki videos. Hasid. Oh, look, I was in the clubs in the 80s when it was MDMA, or as it is now, or ecstasy as it was then. And then poor Brian Harvey just fried his brain on ease. And they were floating around. Now, look, nightclubs, people just think same at a Liam Gallagher's concert. Yeah. And the perennial H, horse. I mean, I've lost some good friends to heavy recreational use. And Rich, yeah, it's good for the teeth. If you're going to get a kiss. Lottie Martin, yes, each decade, different atmosphere, different drugs, music, propaganda. And if you look at the 80s, when I was in the clubs, I was on the radio and I was in the clubs. I'd go out to a club for an appearance and I'd do an hour set. And you can just tell when people are doing like popping pills. They weren't in the clubs. It was more an up. Ecstasy used to be known as the hug drug. Back in sort of 88, 89, when we went acid and Ibiza, I was with all of those DJs. So Ray Norton, interesting. True, Adrian, but my third eye would sense it. Vix Tex. What's the greatest opening line in any pop song ever? It's Prince. And it's in France, a little man died from a disease with a big name. If I can remember that correctly off the top of my head. So it's I just want to move on to the monkeypox thing. Lottie Martin says, poor Brian Harvey, he's got a good heart and he's paranoid. Bless his heart. I agree, Lottie. I've met Brian a couple of times. I've interviewed him a couple of times. Lovely, lovely guy. That's why I've never touched a drug. It's not a road I ever wanted to go down. Wow. Nicholas, DJ Howie Lawrence, Weir FM, RIP. Really, Nicholas? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. When did that happen, Nicholas? Fill you in. You know, one of the Beatles dropped the F-bomb in Hey Jude? Really? I'll have to have a listen to that. I was telling the story about the Beatles and A Day in the Life. I am going to talk about the monkeypox in a moment, just to round this particular live off, because we need to get to that. I was telling someone the story about A Day in the Life, the Beatles song. And originally, what they were doing was they edited it together. It was kind of two songs made into one. And when they were recording it in Studio 2 at Abbey Road, they wanted the orchestra there. And you know, right at the very end of A Day in the Life, go to Spotify and have a listen to it. The orchestra's playing, and they were playing a kind of a chaotic scene. And at the end of it, there's just one big boom, one big chord, one note. And they said to the orchestra, when we get to that and we play that chord, do not say anything or move anything or do anything that's going to make a noise, because what we're going to do is we're going to put that chord through a reel-to-reel machine, and then we're going to put it on reverb, and then we're going to put it through another tape machine, and then another tape machine, so that the loop would continue for as long as is physical possible. And when they brought I'm sure it was Sgt. Pepper for A Day in the Life, when they brought that album out on CD, they hadn't remastered it. So from the original vinyl to CD, right at the very end, it goes to the chaotic orchestra bits, and then it goes to the one big long chord, and then you hear, and it keeps going. And then all of a sudden you hear, shh, because somebody had obviously moved, the chair had squeaked, and somebody in the orchestra had gone, shh. But the minute they remastered it, they took that out. Is it Giles Martin's son? They remastered it and took that. I mean, I thought it was beautiful. The fact it was so authentic and it was kind of the time. And I thought it was a beautiful little Easter egg, if you wish, in the song. So I'm going to have a look. Hey Jude, effing hell. Wow, Newkie Brown. I'm definitely going to have a listen to that. I love all these little Easter eggs that are there to be discovered decades, if not 50 years later. A few years ago, ended his life in the Far East. The funniest of blokes and a mate. Sorry to hear that, Nicholas. Were Deacon Blue good live, regardless? Not sure, Andrew. I think I interviewed them at Rock FM at one point. Nice people, Scots, nice people. Mpox has been in the UK since 2022, currently only affecting the gay community, only reference Dr. Campbell. Oh, John Campbell, I'll go and have a look at him. But let's look at the facts. They're trying to say that it's airborne. No, it's not. You only get the Mpox. Let's call it monkeypox. When you get it, you start shoving bananas up your ass. Monkeypox, it's only from sexual contact. Only from sexual contact. Now, some people will go, yes, Adrian, but it might not be sexual contact. It's got to be physical contact. Well, try and help me out here. So what kind of physical contact would you have if you're trying to get hold of somebody's schmeckle? Unless you're Hugh Edwards, of course, in which case, if you're in the ivy, you'll just start touching anybody up in the bogs. Alan, not everywhere in UK doses fluoride. It's down to the local health authority that decides it. I worked for the water company before I retired on my massive pension. Good on you, Alan. Leah says, thank you for tonight's show, Adrian. Good to have you back. So, is monkeypox disease X? Asking for a friend. Alan says, you will confine yourself to the trees and eat bananas. Love Starmer. Bad Wolf Project. Skin on skin. Body masks for all. Or nappies, eventually. But is it disease X that they were talking about at the beginning of the year? Remember the WHO? And what's his face over in the WEF? They were talking about it. Is this AIDS Part 2? I mean, I'm old enough to remember the 80s and the scare tactics that were around. And thank goodness that we managed to medicinally control that particular challenge. But again, they said, it was some American airline cabin crew that shagged a monkey in Africa. They took it back to San Francisco and it all came out of San Francisco. That's AIDS. And now we've got the monkeypox, and now they're saying it's coming out of. I'm not sure it's been around since 2022, but the WHO is a criminal organisation, Fixtex. I agree completely. They're at it all the time, making money. Somebody's putting major money into the WHO. Bill Gates, anyone? Airborne, pubic airborne, more like, says Wiggy Videos. I agree. But they've got to make it palatable for the man and woman on the street. I mean, they're saying it's coming out of San Francisco. There's a guy in Sweden. They're saying that it's in this country. But how do we know this? This is the media that lied to you in 2020. Forget everything else. Forget general election. Forget the political classes and forget the politicians. This is the mainstream media. Do not believe anything that they print. It's all lies. It's all bought and paid for propaganda. So why are you listening to them? Why are you reading them? And why are you believing them? Because I bloody don't. I read them because I need it for this channel. But what did Ray Norton say? Brilliant. That's very funny, Holly. So I want to tell you this. That now there's some nuggets of gold in tonight's live that I want you to keep hold of tightly. And this is one of them. You know that shares in the monkeypox vaccine maker, Bavarian Nordic. Are you aware that they rose 35% in the last week. I'll say that to you again. Shares in the monkeypox vaccine, emphasis on the wrong syllable, shares in monkeypox vaccine maker Bavarian Nordic went up by 35% in the last week. So imagine if you're an investor, you stick £1,000 in there. In a week, your money's going to be worth 1,350 quid in a week. If you know what's coming, it's all about the money. Yet the newspapers are not telling you that. They're not telling you that the vaccine maker Bavarian Nordic, their shares went up 35%. Please don't tell me that this is a thing. It's only a thing for certain parts of society. Other parts of society are making a shed load of money. It's all about the Benjamins. It's all about the greenbacks. It's all about the thieving, crooked, snake oil selling political classes who can foxtrot Oscar, because now we can see through them. We can see what they're up to. It's all about the Benjamins. My name's Adrian Allen. We had more questions. I'm going to have to ask them in videos tomorrow. But good to be back. Thank you very much for all your kind words and support over the last couple of weeks. Challenging it was, but as some were saying at the time, it does get easier. And I agree to a certain extent. But there are days where, the emotion comes back. And I know for sure that when I'm doing these, I'm focused on what I'm talking to you about. There was a lot more to talk about, but we'll do that on Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Don't forget the lives are Sunday, Wednesday, 8 p.m. The All Bovril, great Adrian, thank you. Triggy, bye Adrian. Viv Kenyon, great show as per usual. Viv and Darlo. Amalia, thank you. Thank you, AA. Brill as always. Thank you for all your kind words. And I shall see you at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. My name's Adrian Allen. Don't forget to smash the likes on your way out of the body of the Kirk. You're wronging. There's only 200 people watching. Make sure and check your subscription to the channel, because an authentic channel goes up and goes down, unlike some who continually go up when nobody's watching your bloody videos. Are they, mate? Mind you, you've been demonetized. This channel hasn't. So love to you all. Bad Wolf Project, bye Rev. So thank you for your likes. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. But most of all, thank you for your indulgence. My name's Adrian Allen. Again, it always has been. It's my real name. And whatever you do, be well, be safe. And don't forget your Bamberg, man.